So there's some other things that I wanted to show you with ChatGPT. And the big one right now in the state of California is that our state test scores are going to go live in mid to late. What does that mean? Principals are going to start looking at their data and they're kind of like, where do I start? I don't even know how to look at this data, but it's public data. So you can use ChatGPT. So depending on what state you're in, like we have what's called, let's just go to the home here. We have 6 different assessments that we offer in the state of California the summative assessments, meaning the end of the year, how have students done? How have they engaged in their academic learning? And what's the impact on the next year and how can we improve our instruction? So we have the English language arts, literacy, and mathematics. So CAS, the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress, is the overarching system for these assessments. And then we also have the English language proficiency assessment for California. So that's here. And that is for our students who are multilingual and they are learning English for the first time, or they're learning English in California. And so all of these other ones, like the Smarter Balance one, this ELA and Math, that means that however a student is doing, if the question is somewhat simple for them or easy, the test may get a little bit more difficult for them. And if it's a little bit difficult for them, the test may get a little bit easier for them to see how they're accessing knowledge. And so that's what the Smarter Balance is. So ELA and Math. We have the alternative one, the California Alternative Assessments in ELA and Math. And this one is for students who typically couldn't access this. And then we have the California Science Test. This one is not smarter. So kids will get different questions. So if they're near another student, it won't be in the same order, but they're just similar questions. They might even get a totally different test. I could be wrong about that. Correct me in the chat if you know. And then you have the alternate science test, which is similar to this, but for students who typically couldn't access this level of assessment. And then we also offer the Spanish reading language arts one. So this one we use when we have students that are looking for a multiliteracy or the seal of biliteracy. So they're looking for a seal so that they can show that they're proficient in Spanish. So that one we really like. And the other assessments like the AP Spanish assessment, French, German, whatever language they're looking at, we use those two to qualify them. So what does this really mean and what can we do with it? So we can do a lot of things. So when this data is live, it's live now, but it gives us the year before. And some people look at this and they go, that data is old. We don't need to look at it. Well, as an educator, it would inform me on how I did the previous year. So, school sites or school districts will get this data back in May so they can start informing, and parents will get it back in May for their own child. So they can see, well, how they did, like, what do they need to do differently for the new group of students? So it does inform us pretty quickly. The state of Illinois goes, is it either Ohio or Illinois? Their data goes pretty public fast, like May, June, or July, and which is kind of interesting. I'm very curious on how they do that. But this is where we are in California. So mid-October, late October, the data will go live. And what you can do, and I've shown this before, is you can take this data if you're a principal and first of all, you should show this with your community and talk about, what you're going to do to improve. And this is where we are. And let's honor students. You can also, this is in ELA and Math, and it gives you these 4 areas. Level 4 is where we want them to be by the time they're in 11th grade, because that means that they are one criteria of being ready to go to college or ready to enter the workforce. And then level 3 is they've met the standards. However, they may need a little bit more work to become really proficient in it. And then you'll notice that in the middle here, level 3 and level 4 is added. And then we have level 2, meaning they're getting there. And then level 1, they haven't met it. So what do we need to do in education to improve that? These scores, this is the state score. And sometimes we get really frustrated, like, oh my gosh, my school isn't doing as well. You have to remember that every student is different, and schools are working towards helping students do what they can do individually. No 2 students are the same. So take a breath when you see scores. And then what can you do to help your child? And then if you're a teacher, what can you do to help the group of students? And if you're a principal, what can you do to help your teachers? And then, of course, in districts, what can we do to help support our principals and teachers become really proficient in informing what we're doing? Because education changes. How students learn, is faster and different. So we have to be aware of that. And parents send the best they have. Like, they don't just send the good one to school. They're all the great ones. So that's what they do. And then, of course, you have math, the same thing. And what you also can do is you can click on the results here. And I will tell you that this is English. You can click on the math one too. And what's nice about this, now it gives it to you in a bar graph for each grade level in a school district. This, again, is the state. It gives you the number of students that were enrolled, the number that were tested by grade level, the number of students with scores, and the mean score. And then it also mean scale score. So, and that if you really wanted to know what those score scales are, the scale scores here, you can click on this and it'll give you the scales by grade level. I once had a question like, is it always the same scale per grade level? No. So if your child didn't meet the standards in third grade, they will have some, a gap that teachers will have to help them with. And that's doable, believe it or not. And then, you have each level of proficiency. So you have to remember that these are the overall achievement areas. And then we have the areas of achievement. So reading, writing, listening, and research and inquiry. Note that this year, there's probably going to be an additional piece. I don't really know if this is still going to be here. My hope is that it is, but you will have the claims put together. Like, you'll have reading and listening together, and then writing, research, and inquiry together as a composite score. And the difference here is that students who are below standard typically didn't meet. Students who are near standard could possibly be near, met, or exceeded, depending on how close they are to that scale. And then even students who are above in reading, they still could have a met, meaning they could be here, but they could be maybe here, they're near. So there's always lots of questions. So if you have questions, you can even ask ChatGPT, what does this mean for my student? And I wanted to tell you that I actually, and I thought I didn't. I had the student score report for you to see, and I can show you that. But this is just some information that can kind of help you look at what this looks like. But what's nice is that, let's say that you wanted to, grab this information and have ChatGPT talk to you about what does this mean for students. And I'm wondering if I can grab all of this here. Yeah, I can. I can grab all of this and just Control C. It's a lot. I'm going to I'm going to put it in quotes, not that I have to, but I'm going to put it in quotes so it separates it and say, what does this mean for the state of California in 2022-23 data for the ELA, Smarter Balance Assessment, for CASP? And I could just leave it at that. And then I'm going to say, put it back in tables that allows me to grab and in a CSV file to give me a visual. Let's just see what happens, because data informs what we do. And sometimes we don't know where to start. And sometimes it's just, let's talk about it. And let's see what it does. Now notice that this has a down arrow. If I click the down arrow, it's going to start moving for me when it starts to give me all the information. And it's really analyzing it. I did give it a lot of information, and I kind of wonder what it's going to do and how it's going to organize the information. My dog is like having a good time right here. Anyway, so what does this mean for students? What does this mean, and how we're going to look at data? It's really thinking. I'm kind of excited. But while it's thinking, let's let it think. And now what I want to do is grab that student score report so you can see what it means. So these are the samples. You click on it, and then this one, it gives me 5th grade, but you should Google this to look at it. If you have a child and you've gotten this in your student information system, read it. I don't know that you want to take your child's data and upload it into ChatGPT. That's on you, but it is private information, and you have what's called a student SSID here. This is a sample one, and that is their ID. Don't put that in ChatGPT. Don't put that in ChatGPT. But you could, at least look at it and read it. You can ask ChatGPT, what does it mean if, specifically. But notice that when I said these scores are added together here, this is, they put the reading and listening and writing and research together. And then there are other things in here that you might want to ask ChatGPT. Like you could upload this sample one and say, tell me about the score. I don't understand, but don't put your child's in there. The other thing you want to note is that fifth grade essay performance questions may be different than sixth, seventh, eighth, ninth, sixth, seventh, eighth, and grade 11, because their questions will be slightly different. And actually one student might have a different essay question than others. So it's something to think about. So let's see what it did. Oh, okay. All right. So it gave me all the data. I want to expand it so you can see. So if I wanted to copy this, I could download it or just open this up into an Excel or Google Sheet. So it gave me that. And then it gave me all the achievement levels, which I'm curious. Let's see. Where are all the achievement levels? It didn't give me all of them. Okay. So where are the 4 different achievement levels? So just know that ChatGPT isn't perfect. This is the part that you want to see. Reading, writing, listening, research. So I'm just giving it that information. And then it gave me it gave me a graph for MET and for standard MET. That's all that is. I don't know that I wanted just standard MET. Give me a visual of all 4 performance levels, 1 through 4. Let's see if it's still thinking about the other thing. So this is still new because it wasn't giving me a graph before. Like as of a couple of weeks ago, it may have been doing it for other people, but I didn't even consider asking it that. So, which is kind of interesting that it gave me just the standard MET, because that is it's still a good conversation, because I would want to know, well, 7th grade, this is how high standard MET was. Because if I go back to here and I come up here, I'm like, well, 7th grade, this is 30%, 30.51% MET, but only 16 or 17% exceeded. So if I went back to that graph, is that about 30%? Yep. You can verify. Very nicely done. And you notice that it's taking a little longer, which is fine. And that's something that you want to be aware of. And what I will do is I can, I'll share some of my prompts in the description once this video has completely saved on YouTube in the live. But what I wanted to share with you is that using data to inform, it opens up questions. It's okay to ask one question. Like, what one question could I ask? I'm going to pull this away and say, what is one question I could ask my school principals about the overall data by performance level, especially considering, for example, that's an interesting graph. For example, grade 7 has a higher MET percentage compared to exceeded. Like, I'm just going to leave that there, but let's go look at this graph, because it at least gave me achievement levels, but interesting. So reading above standard, reading near standard, reading below, it put it all in. I really like this. This is interesting. Check this graph out. Okay, I didn't want to do that. I'm going to go back to it. Even though it got rid of my question, I clicked my mouse. So it's showing me that reading above standard. Ooh. Okay. It's showing me that reading above standard here in grade 3, that by the time they're in grade 11, that this is what happens, that writing improves by the time they're in grade 11, that research, it seems to always improve, but wait, which one is this? The colors are confusing me. Okay, no. Writing. This is writing. Okay, orange. This is orange. This is the writing. This pink is the research. Yep. No, that's a lie. This is the listening piece. Oh my gosh, the colors. So I'm looking really closely. So yellow we can see is reading. The orange, I have to look at it, is writing. They do get better. Listening, they do definitely improve with the, no, they don't improve in listening. It's the research. They get a little better with it, but listening, like ooh, the state of California. Wow, right? I'm saving this. This is a whole nother conversation for another day. But I could just say, based on this graph, what is one question about the performance levels I could ask principals? That is a beautiful graph. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. So, what strategies can we implement to improve the percentage of students performing above standard in these areas? I would say, I think, look at the graph or table. Give me a question for the lowest performance area. I think it is listening. I was going to say, consider what the state of California says about that performance area, but we'll hold up on that. Given that listening is the lowest performance area across all grade levels, how can we enhance students' listening comprehension skills, and what targeted interventions or instructional strategies can we use to support growth in this area? Oh my gosh. Okay. I know I'm leaving on a high note or a very profound note, but that to me was extremely profound. And I just want to thank you for listening to me today. And it is my hope that you will come back, and thank you. Please subscribe and turn the bell on and share this video with someone. And even if it's just the last portion, because that was kind of profound. And what I will do is I will cut this part and share this information in a second or a separate YouTube video. So thank you so much for watching, and I really appreciate you, and come back often and make sure you comment.